In the last lecture, we look at the we concluded with the other types of TCP scans. Now, in this lecture, we are going to take a look at UDP scanning technique. So, and we have already explained what the UDP, how the UDP scanning technique works in the last lecture. Now, we are going to implement the UDP scanning in our port scanner tool. So this is the algorithm for the UDP scan. So first of all, as we have seen earlier, we are going to send a UDP packet over a UDP port. Now, if we get a UDP packet as a response, then we can say that the port is open. However, if the response is a packet with the ICMP Internet Control Message Protocol error type 3 code 3, then we can say that the port is closed. However, if the response is a packet with ICMP error type 3 code 1, 2, 9, 10, or 13, then we can say how the port is filtered. However, if the response also is, if there is no any response, then we can conclude that the port is either open or filtered. All right. So now we are going to go. We are going to jump straight into the port scanner tool and then begin scripting. All right, so we just come over here and then define a new function. So I'll just jump 2 lines, and then I'm going to define a function and then call it UDP scan. And as usual, we are going to define a parameters, two parameters, a target, which is the target IP address that we are going to scan, and then the port that we are going to perform a UDP scan on. Then now, as usual, I'll just go over there and then copy the code under the Windows scanner and then make the necessary adjustments. I'll just copy this and then I'll come and paste it here. All right, so now we move over and make the necessary adjustment. So line number 199, we are creating the source port that we are going to send the packets from our computer. And then here we are, as usual, this packet will also have the IP scan packet, which is kp.ip, and then here we specify the target IP address that we are trying to perform the scan on. And then here, instead of TCP scan packet, we are going to have a UDP scan packet. And then also here we are making use of the UDP. So kp.udp, since we are scanning over UDP port, source port will remain the same, destination port will remain the same, but since it is UDP, so it doesn't have any flag, so we are going to remove the TCP flag here, right? So we have scan packet, IP scan packet, and then this is not TCP packet, this is UDP packet, UDP scan packet. And then we have scan response, kpsr1, scan packet, timeout of 1, and verbosity is false. All right, so everything remain the same. Then we are checking now in line 206. If scan response is not equals to none, that means we actually have a response. Then we will refer to our algorithm and then see what we are expected to do. So we are sending a UDP packet over UDP port. If we have a UDP packet as a response, then we can say the port is open. So here we are checking for a UDP packet. So has layer kp.udp, not TCP, since we are sending a UDP packet. So we are checking for UDP. So if it has a layer kp.udp, and then also UDP doesn't have flags, so we are not doing all this. So we just remove this. We just come over here and then just do away with this. So we are checking if the scan response has a layer kp.udp, then we are going to return that the port is open. So we return open according to the UDP algorithm. Then we'll go over again. Now the next thing we are going to check if the response is a response with ICMP error type 3 code 3. So we have also scripted something similar. So we have also scripted something similar in the one of the scannings that we did, not Windows scan, in the in the acknowledgement scan. Yeah. So we have something like this. So I'll just copy this so that we don't need to re-code it again. So I just copy it and then make the necessary adjustment. So we are also testing for if it has kp.icmp type 3 and then code 3. Okay, so you just copy this, copy it, then go there and paste it in my code. All right, so also we are checking all right, yeah, so and then else elif. Okay, so it is elif since we are checking for another condition. So if elif if it has this skp.icmp layer, and if the scan response has skp.icmp layer, and then it is go back to the algorithm, type 3 code 3. So it is type 3 code 3 that we are checking for. So if it has a skp.icmp layer, and in that icmp layer, if there is a field called type and the value of the type is 3, and also if that skp.icmp layer has another field code and the value of the code is also 3. So we are going to we are checking for if it is 3. If it is 3, okay, so we are not testing for all these, we are just taking it for if it is 3. If it is 3, then we take the necessary action. So we return. Alright, so let me check. We have something missing there. Okay, and int scan response. Alright, so we have a missing parenthesis here. So put it up. Okay, that code because it's equivalent to 3. Then we are going to return, check our algorithm again. We are going to return that the port is closed, not filtered. So we just go over here and return it is filtered, that the port is filtered. So I'll just say right here that the port is okay, it's closed. Yes, it's closed according to our UDP algorithm here. All right. So and then if we have response with ICMP error type 3, code in 12910 or 13, then we say the port is filtered. All right. So we have another condition again. Then we create another condition, elif. Then I can just paste this. And then if we have another response that have a skp.icmp layer and the value of the type field is 3, and also we have skp.icmp layer with the value of the field of the value of the field code either 1, 2, 1, 2, 9, 10 or 13. So I'll do away with this 3 according to our algorithm. 1, 2, 9, 10 or 13. Then we say that the port is filtered. So we return that the port is filtered here. So we just come here and return filtered. And then we return that the port is filtered. All right. So now we still go back to our algorithm again and then see. So if the port is filtered, and then if we have no response, then we are going to return that either the port is open or filtered. All right. So I just copy this open filtered. So I'll go back to my code again. So if we have no else, if there is no response, remember first we are checking if there is a response. That is why we have these conditions. If scan response equals to none, okay. If scan response equals to none, all right. So no, we are not checking for this. So I need to. So if scan response equals to none, if scan response equals to none, that is when we actually have a response. Then we are checking if the scan response has a layer skp.udp, and then if it then we return open. Now if also the scan response has a layer skp.icmp and type 3, the value of type 3 field is the value of the type field is 3, and also it has skp.icmp layer, and in that layer there is a field called code. Now if the value of the code is 3, then we are going to return that the port is closed. Okay, and if otherwise this condition did not is not true, so I also need to indentation, maintain the indentation here, also maintain the indentation here. Now we are checking for another condition again. Now if the scan response has skp.icmp layer, and in that layer there is a type field and the value of the type field is 3, and we are using and boolean operator to check two conditions. So if these two conditions must evaluate to true, these two conditions must both evaluate to true before we have the whole of the condition here as true. So according to our truth table, then we can say that also that the whole of the two conditions is now true. Now the other condition is we are checking for if it has this cancel response packet has a layer called skp.icmp, and within that layer there is a field called code, and if the value of the code is either 1, 2, 9, 10 or 13, then we are going to return that that particular port is filtered. So now what if there is no response? So our algorithm has also taken care of that. So we are checking now. Here we check for if, right? Here we check for if. So else, That means if we didn't get any response, what are we going to do? So we'll still go back to the algorithm. Then we are going to return that the port is open or filtered. So if we didn't get any response, so we are going to return that the port is open or filtered. So I'll just paste this one here. All right. So that basically, this is how the UDP scanning techniques works. It's very similar to some of the other scanning techniques that we have coded before, but only that this is a UDP packet, not a TCP packet. All right. So we are going to now run this code as well against our Windows 10 machine, and then if there is any error, we come back and fix the error. So Windows scan is not Windows scan, it is UDP scan. So we are performing a UDP scan. So we are invoking the UDP function that we have just created now. So I'll go over to the terminal and then run this script and then see what we are going to get as a result. All right, so I'm not in the directory, so I'll navigate to the directory where I have this file. It is in CD. So I'll move 2 directions backward. I'll move to the coding, so I'll move back again to the desktop directory. Then I'm looking for a folder called lectures. That is where I have the no. I'm moving CD okay, so lectures. All right, so now let me clear the terminal. Then sudo, I'm going to make use of sudo Python 3, then of the interpreter that we are using to run this Python script. Then the name of our file is python port scanner.py, and then we are going to give value for the positional argument 10.0.2.15, which is the IP address of the Windows 10 machine that we are trying to scan, and then the type of scan that we want to perform is UDP scan, and the port that we want to scan now is port say 80 that we have been scanning before. So I hit enter. So I'm going to enter my password. So now let's see what the result is going to be. Also, I have my Windows 10 machine here. Let me come to the launch the terminal, so that if there is need for us to enable and disable the firewall, then we can do that to test our port scanner. All right, so I'll just right click on the command prompt. All right, so our scan has scanned the Windows 10, and we can see our response is couldn't get any response. That is why I couldn't get any packet when we sent the scan packet. There was no any response. That is why we're having the UDP scan return as open filtered. All right. So we are having it as open filtered. So let me go and enable the disable the firewall, and then come and run the port scanner, and then see what we are going to get. So as usual, I'll run the command .sh adb firewall set all profiles states off. Right, so we have disabled the firewall here. So let's go back and then run the UDP port scanner, the port scanner rather, and then see what we are going to have as the result. Closed. So we have a response that is closed. That means that we got a packet that has ICMP, that has a layer skp.icmp and a field type, and the value of the type is 3. And also it has also a layer called a field called code that has a value of 3, and that field code is in the same layer skp.icmp. That is why we are having the response close according to how we scripted our UDP port scanner. So we have successfully implemented all the scanning techniques, all the TCP scanning techniques, as well as the UDP port scanning technique. So in the next lecture, we are going to continue building on this our port scanner.